In this video, we're going to put supply and demand together. Equilibrium is where prices reach the level where the quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded. So right here at this point. The equilibrium price is $3 and the equilibrium quantity is 15. So you can see that. Equilibrium price equals equilibrium quantity demanded at 15, and the quantity supplied is also 15. What do economists say about price gouging? Connecticut should pass its Senate Bill 60, which states that during a, quote, severe weather event emergency, no person within the chain of distribution of consumer goods and services shall sell or offer to sell consumer goods or services for a price that is considered very excessive. So 77% of economists actually disagree with this statement. What do you think? When markets are not in equilibrium, we have either a surplus or we have a shortage. On this slide, you can see that there is a surplus. So the quantity supplied over here is greater than the quantity demanded. Quantity supplied is 25. The quantity demanded is only close to about 9 lattes here. So we have a surplus here of 16 lattes. So if you look here, the difference between 25 and 9 gives us 16. So facing a surplus, sellers are going to try to increase sales by cutting their price. So think of going to the mall, and if there's an excess of summer clothes because now it's we're transitioning into the fall, then retailers are cutting the price to get rid of that surplus. So this is going to cause the quantity demanded to increase and the quantity supplied to fall, which reduces the surplus. The price will continue to fall until the market reaches equilibrium. Now let's look at the other side. What if we have a shortage or excess demand for a good? So in this case, if the demand is 21 at a price of only $1 and the supply at $1 is only 5, then we have a shortage here again of 16. So 21 rather minus 5 is 16. So facing a shortage, sellers are going to raise the price. They know they can get more. So this will cause the quantity demanded to fall and the quantity supplied to rise. And that's going to reduce the shortage. The price will continue to rise until we get back to equilibrium. So when you're putting supply and demand together, there's 3 things you need to consider. First of all, decide whether the event shifts the supply curve, the demand curve, or in some cases, both curves. Decide whether the curve shifts to the right or to the left, and use the supply and demand diagram. Compare the initial and the new equilibrium and the effects on the equilibrium price and quantity. So here's an example. The market for hybrid cars. So if we have here a supply and demand, what's going to happen if we have an increase in the price of gas? The demand curve is going to shift because the price of gas affects the demand for hybrids. The supply curve will not shift because the price of gas does not affect the cost of producing a hybrid. So you can see demand is shifting to the right because high gas prices make hybrids a more attractive option relative to other cars. So the shift causes an increase in the price and the quantity of hybrid cars. So we've moved from this point up to P2. Q1 is where we started, and now we're at Q2. A change in supply. A shift in the supply curve occurs when you have a non-price determinant of supply that changes. So for example, if technology changes or costs associated with producing that good changes. If we have a change in the quantity supply, we're just going to have movement right along the fixed S curves. And that occurs when the price is the only thing that's changing. If there's a change in demand, we have a shift in the demand curve. And that occurs when you have a non-price determinant of demand. So income's changing, or maybe the number of buyers. A change in the quantity demanded is just a movement right along the fixed demand curve. The demand curve is not shifting. In this example, we're looking at a shift in supply. So we have new technology which reduces the cost of producing a hybrid car. So the S curve is going to shift to the right because new technology affects the cost of production. The demand curve is not shifting in this case. The shift in the S curve reduces costs because production is more profitable at any given price. So we started here at P1. The S curve has shifted to the right. So now equilibrium is now at P2 and Q2. What if we have a shift in both supply and demand? So the price of gas rises and new technology reduces the production costs. Both curves are going to shift. The demand curve is going to shift and the supply curve is going to shift. The quantity that's going to be demanded is definitely going to increase. An increase in demand increases the quantity. An increase in supply also increases the quantity. So we know for sure that the quantity is going to go from Q1 to Q2. But the effect on the price is ambiguous. If demand increases more than supply, then the price will rise. If the opposite happens, then the price will not rise. So the price of gas rises and new technology reduces production costs. Q rises, but the effect on the price is ambiguous. But if supply increases more than demand, then the price is going to fall. And you see that here. So the price has fallen because the shift in supply is more than the shift in demand. Okay, here's your active learning assignment for this video unit.